What's good, everyone? This your main correspondent, Alan Taylor, and I'm back in the broadcast room. And this is where we at now. So, yeah, as we all know by now, Don Lemon has been arrested. It's no need to, even just really bring that out to light. But listen, look. So we're going to recap on the situation of him getting arrested. And also, too, we're going to go into him being released from jail, you know, earlier this evening. I think it was. It's 10:20 p.m. where I'm at as the making of this video. So he was released earlier this evening and things like that. And also we're gonna listen to a few other people that have something to say about this situation, but it's totally ridiculous. And yes, he was walking around here like he was made of steel, talking about come get me. Okay. And they came and got him. So we're gonna go here now. Quarters, nickels, and dimes.
And to a Fox News alert, journalist Don Lemon has been arrested in connection with an anti-ICE protest at a church in St. Paul, Minnesota. Bill Malusian joins us now with more on this breaking news. Hey, Bill.
Yeah, Charlie, good morning to you. Our colleague David Spunt and I getting this breaking news from multiple law enforcement sources just minutes ago, confirming that former CNN anchor Don Lemon has been arrested by federal agents in Los Angeles just after midnight this morning at a hotel. This obviously all in connection with that storming of a church in St. Paul, Minnesota by that group of anti-ICE agitators. Now, remember, the feds had gone to judges to try to get Don Lemon arrested before. They went to a magistrate judge in Minnesota who didn't sign off on an arrest warrant for him. Then it went to a judge above him. He didn't sign off on an arrest warrant for him. Then it went to an appeals court. They also decided not to sign off for an arrest warrant for him. So there was experts who were predicting that perhaps the feds would go to a grand jury. It remains to be seen if that's what happened here, but we can confirm that Don Lemon was arrested.
I'm just going to be a little bit logical here right now. If those are the only three options and the other two are out the window, then I guess they would have had to go to the grand jury. I mean, it just makes logical sense here. All this confirming and stuff like that. I get it, on the news and stuff like that. They want to be accurate. I understand, at least some people do, Don's a whole nother story. But anyway, though, yeah, if those were the only three options and the other two are not an option anymore, it's just common sense.
In Los Angeles by federal agents just after midnight Los Angeles time at a hotel. Now, typically, standard procedure with an arrest like this is the defendant will likely make their first court appearance sometime the same day. So there's a chance we may see Don Lemon make his first court appearance in Los Angeles sometime today. But obviously, this is going to grab all sorts of headlines. 3 other protesters from that church storming, have already been arrested, including who the feds say was the organizer of that protest. The woman in the middle there is a school board member in St. Paul, and then the mugshot on the right is an online personality / agitator, if you want to call him that. He's known as the Woke Farmer. Those were the 3 people that the feds had already arrested, but we have confirmed that Don Lemon has now been arrested in Los Angeles in connection with that viral incident. We all saw the video of it that spread and drew widespread condemnation. The feds have been going after these people on FACE Act violations. So this is still breaking news. Once we get more details about the potential charges here, a court appearance, we'll, of course, update our viewers, guys.
All right. So, my thing of this is that I fear that the star power of Don Lemon, because he's the most famous one out of, all the 4 here, that he's going to get the biggest news coverage. Of course, I get it. But I'm saying, too, I want to hear also about the other 3. They don't need to be excommunicated from this situation here because they were all involved together. So I want to hear about them too. Their charges definitely when they go to court, all types of stuff. This needs to be brought to a full page. Everybody that was involved that has gotten arrested needs to be on each broadcast. They need to be talking about them all. In my eyes, they need to be talking about them all. So we're going to keep going. So Don Lemon has technically gotten out of jail. So let's go here now. Let's check this out.
Tonight, former CNN anchor turned independent journalist Don Lemon out of custody, but facing federal civil rights charges after covering an anti-ICE protest inside a church near Minneapolis. Appearing in Los Angeles federal court today, Lemon charged with conspiracy to deprive rights and for violating a federal law that prohibits people from interfering with the right to attend religious services, a move Lemon's attorney calls an unprecedented attack on the First Amendment.
Just here to chronicle and to get some answers.
But but those people have the First Amendment to not want to hear your shit either. You know, and you go inside of a church. Nobody invited you there. And if you do decide to go to a church, you're supposed to go there, sit down, and see what the message about, things like that. You're not supposed to just storm the church with you and 80 other people. Just bust up in the church with your cameras, your microphones, shoving them in people's faces. It's children in there and things like that. This is wild, bro. This is wild. So, you know, listen, look, man, I'm glad justice is being had right here. I'm glad justice is being had. Seriously.
The charges stemming from Lemon's coverage of this protest during a Sunday morning church service earlier this month, where demonstrators say a pastor also worked as an ICE field director.
This shows you just how divided America is. When you look at the protesters here, and then you look at the people there who are praying.
Lemon's live stream from inside, you can see him
Hold on. This is crazy. What Don just say? This is sad, bro. This is sad. Are you listening to what this idiot just said?
When you look at the protesters here, and then you look at the people there who are praying.
And then you look at the people there praying. Yeah, they're praying because they was at church. They were gathering together to worship the Lord. That's what they supposed to be doing. You're not supposed to be up in there with them protesters. Man, screw it, what we're talking about here. Sorry, but Don has put himself in a highly controversial predicament. And, you know, I'm hearing all types of crazy stuff. You done made Don a martyr and all that. Who the fuck is you talking about made Don a martyr? No. He's a buffoon that was traveling with a bunch of other idiots, and they decided to storm a church like a bunch of bats out of hell. This don't make no, man, we need to stop this type of stupidity going around the internet with people thinking this stupidly. They need to be completely shut down, argued with. This is crazy, bro. No, this man gonna clearly say, look at these protesters here. Look at the people praying. What?
His live stream from inside, you can see him interviewing congregants and a pastor who asked him to leave.
We're here to worship Jesus because that's the hope of these cities. That's the hope of the world is Jesus Christ.
I want to be very respectful. Please don't push me.
I have to take care of my church and my family, so I asked that you actually would also.
If you wasn't so close up on him, he wouldn't be close enough to think he's pushing you. Jesus Christ.
Leave this building.
Lemon repeatedly identifies himself as a journalist.
I'm just chronicling. I'm not with the group. I'm a journalist. They're activists.
But the DOJ is grouping Lemon, who's been critical of the Trump administration, and another independent journalist who was also arrested with the protest organizers. Federal authorities arresting Lemon even after a judge had initially ruled there was insufficient evidence to do so.
Make no mistake, under President Trump's leadership and this administration, you have the right to worship freely and safely. And if I haven't been clear already, if you violate that sacred right, we are coming after you.
Journalism rights groups blasting Lemon's arrest. His attorney saying Don has been a journalist for 30 years and his constitutionally protected work in Minneapolis was no different than what he has always done.
Liz joins us now live. Liz, Lemon spoke outside of court moments ago. You were right there. What did he say?
Yeah, he just walked out of the courtroom here hand in hand with his husband, and he just stopped and talked to reporters. And he said, I have spent my entire career covering the news. I will not stop now, and I look forward to my day in court. The next hearing has been set for just over a week from now in Minnesota.
So, yeah, just over a week from now, Don is expected to be back in court talking out the side of his neck still. So we're going to keep going. Because guess what? There's always more. And we're going to hear what Don had to say about telling these officers and people to come arrest him. Let's do this.
Proud and I stand tall. This is not a victory lap for me because it's not over. They're going to try again, and they're going to try again. And guess what? Here I am. Keep trying. That's not going to stop me from being a journalist. You're not going to diminish my voice. Go ahead, make me into the new Jimmy Kimmel if you want. Because I'm not going anywhere, and I'm going to believe the same things, whether you want to, whatever. None of this is about justice. This is about power, and it's about people who are incompetent. Look, I stand.
It's about power and about people who are incompetent. So, you know, I guess those people in the church that you ran in up there on, and you and your cronies, I guess those people were incompetent, and you had to go there and make sure that they were competent, you know, by any means necessary, you know, them and their children. So, you know, I guess the whole congregation, children and all, were incompetent people. Yeah. Always trying to deflect some shit. Dude, you did what you did. You know, you stepped all over their First Amendment rights too. You didn't ask to come in there. You just went in there. So it's a huge difference. This is crazy out here. And we're just going to allow this Lemon guy to talk, to just spew all this craziness all over the damn place. Talking about being a journalist. So this is him doing the perp walk right here. Let's go here now.
How you feeling, Don?
Don?
Steps coming up. Watch your step. Watch your step. Right here, Don. You got a country with you, Don? There's a mic stand over there, gentlemen.
So look, I want to thank everybody for their support. It truly means the world to me. I have no idea what's going on because obviously I haven't seen anything. I have spent my entire career covering the news. I will not stop now. In fact, there is no more important time than right now, this very moment, for a free and independent media that shines a light on the truth and holds those in power accountable. Again, I will not stop now. I will not stop ever. Last night, the DOJ sent a team of federal agents to arrest me in the middle of the night for something that I've been doing for the last 30 years, and that is covering the news. The First Amendment of the Constitution protects that work for me and for countless of other journalists who do what I do. I stand with all of them, and I will not be silenced. I look forward to my day in court. Thank you all.
So, you know, you heard what Don had to say there after he, you know, got released and things like that, which is ridiculous. Dude, that's not reporting the news. If you was going to report the news, why weren't you standing outside? Or at least why didn't you ask the pastor, the leader of the church, to come inside and talk to the church members? Y'all just went in there. That's it, man. Listen, look, that's crazy and highly disrespectful. And it's disrespectful that Don Lemon is sitting around here thinking that this is okay. And he, you know, he's just a journalist. Yeah, a rogue journalist. This is not good journalism.
For his role in the Minnesota church storming. What he did was violate 18 U.S. Code Section 248. This is the FACE Act. Now, some are going to say, hey, that's only about abortion centers. No, it's not. It's also about places of worship like churches, mosques, etc. Now, some are going to say he was just there observing. He was a journalist. No, he was part of the planning process. There's videos of him that he uploaded. He put up where he's saying, we're going to go somewhere, but I can't tell you. We're going to do something, but I can't tell you. That's called conspiracy. And once he goes there and enters a church with them illegally, he's part of the illegal act. Just because he's interviewing people inside the church does not preclude him from being prosecuted for violating and interrupting their right to religious freedom. I'm glad they're...
Period. And Don needs to have his feet held to the fire here, which, you know, I think is going to happen, but I don't think they're going to do Don crazy. Like, I don't think they're going to give Don 20 years or some shit like that. No, I don't even think they're going to give him time in jail, low key. You know, they're going to try to wiggle some way, maybe some, you know, community service and some dumbass shit. You know what I'm saying? But I want to hear what they're going to do with the rest of them. Let's go here now, see what she has to say.
Don Lemon was just arrested. Do you see what happens when you mess with God's house, when you mess with God's people? Justice is served. You cannot continue to get away with persecuting Christians in this country. It's not happening. We're not backing down. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're purple, red, yellow, black, blue. If you voted red, I don't care. You're not going to storm into the house of God and think that there's not going to be any consequences. I am glad that this is happening, because let this be a warning to anybody else who decides that they all of a sudden have the cojones to storm into the house of God and do things. Justice will be served. Period, point blank. You guys thought it was a good idea to do a protest inside of a house of God, a house of worship. And then you try to say, oh, well, I'm a Christian. You know, I'm a man of faith. Then why are you here, sir? Why are you interrupting the very time that they get to express their faith? Why are you interrupting that if you're a man of faith? It does not make any sense. Make it make sense. But you know what? Justice is being served, and I'm here for it, baby. So there you have it, Don Lemon.
Yeah, there you have it, Don. You got what you were looking for. Infamous. Now Don Lemon is infamous. Yep, you got what you wanted, Don. And they're going to let you know that you got what you wanted, because I'm telling you right now, you know, Don Lemon needs to be definitely punished here, you know, right along with the other three people who were the buffoons, especially that dude, the farmer, whatever his name was. You know, Jesus Christ, bro. He's a complete ratchet idiot. Jesus, man. That's wild. But we're going to go here now. And this is the lady that they mentioned in the previous video that I showed you guys where he was being released and stuff like that. This is also the other lady that was filming at the church, and she just got arrested a few hours after Don Lemon. So we're going to go here now. We're going to check this out and see what she has to say. This is footage of her at home, and the agents are knocking on her door.
I'm being advised to go with them.
Independent journalist Georgia Fort was taken into custody by federal agents Friday morning. Video shared with CNN shows agents at her home before the arrest.
Okay, well, this is really scary. There's kids in the house. This seems a little bit aggressive.
This is all stemming from the fact that I filmed a protest as a member of the media.
Fort's arrest comes the morning after former CNN anchor and independent journalist Don Lemon was taken into custody. Both Fort and Lemon filmed anti-ICE protesters in a St. Paul church during a service earlier this month.
I don't feel like I have my First Amendment right as a member of the press.
U.S.
What is up with these people? These crazy, super liberal minded ass folks. And she feel like she don't have her First Amendment rights. Same with Don. What are y'all talking about? Y'all stormed in a church where y'all wasn't invited. Y'all wasn't invited. How dare you sit there with this victim mindset? This is crazy, bruh. Just victims all around here. And the sad part about this is, if you look at reality, the quote unquote victims are the ones running around here terrorizing everybody.
Attorney General Pam Bondi confirmed in a post this morning on X that Lemon and Fort, as well as two others, were arrested in connection with the church protest.
I'm going to have to hop off here and surrender to agents.
Thank God.
As a member of the press, it's hard to understand how we have a constitution, constitutional rights, when you can just be arrested for being a member of the press.
The charges Fort faces have not been made publicly available.
Yeah, you got to go. We know you got to go. Go ahead on and go out there, girl. You know what I'm saying? Put your arms in your back. Let them put the cuffs on you. Carry your ass on. Yeah, this is sad. This is sad. And we're dealing with a level of delusion that's unprecedented here. Now we got the journalists walking around here trampling over the First Amendment, then crying on the back end that they're getting done some type of way when they trample on other people's First Amendment. Now they want to cry, talking about my First Amendments are being messed with. I have the freedom for journalism. And that's not journalism y'all doing. That's nowhere near journalism. Man. But, you know, I think justice is being served. I want to see what's going on in her case as well too, what she's being charged with as well. And yeah, they rounding them up. They're rounding them up. You know, I've never seen any other churches get ran up in like that. You know, talking about we're journalists and we're coming to, you know, document the situation. You're going to document people running up in a church, disturbing church service. Okay. You know, how about you go do that at a mosque or something? You know, the disrespect is real, but it is what it is though. Shout out to all my subscribers. Mad love to y'all. If you're new to the channel, please hit that like, share, subscribe button. Make sure you ring that bell to be notified whenever I decide to post things. And like I always say,
and that, my friends, is the bottom line.
That, my friends, is the bottom line.